Greetings, colleagues. It's 212 Heroic Resistance Day of Ukraine. I'm Natalia Staroprava. We start our briefings at the Mediacentre Ukraine. With us, we have Vasyl Baryliuk, who is the director of Lviv Regional Employment Center. Let's discuss the marketplace and vacancies in the Lviv region. Vasyl, if I may ask you the following question. So how has the employment structure changed since the beginning of the full-scale war in Ukraine? Good day, everyone. Glory to Ukraine. It might be a paradox, I'll have to tell you, but they have an explanation, and I will try to justify my explanation. So speaking in numbers, all the numbers have halved compared to the previous year, the year 2021. If as of today, 23rd of September, we had 16,000 unemployed last year, now we have a bit over 8,000 unemployed this year. Speaking of vacancies, we have 2/3 of them compared to the previous year. So the situation is looking up. We had a similar picture in June when we had a half. But now the market is picking up and the situation is also improving. Talking about the salary, it's approaching 10,000 hryvnia, and that's 1,000 more than the same in the year 2021. If we compare the development of the marketplace since the full-scale invasion of Russia into Ukraine since the 24th of February, the market was critical in the first 2 months, in April and March. The picture was dire, especially in terms of job openings filed by the employees, so the market has come to a standstill as there was a lot of uncertainty, and some employees were laying off their staff. There was a time when we've had an influx of the registration of the unemployed, but we have to pay the merits to the employees. They've worked very hard to preserve their teams. Often they receive some support from the government. There was a number of different programs that were brought out very efficiently, and these were the programs for the employment of the internally displaced people, and the employees were reimbursed minimum pay for the 2 months of their employment, so each employer could get 13,000 hryvnia, and also there was a compensation for partial unemployment, so the standstill of the production, but still the people could be paid through the employment center and retain their jobs. And then the market stabilized, and the situation started looking up until June, and now we see more employers filing job openings, and you compare the number of unemployed as of the number of the openings, we have 2 unemployed per place, and this is the very best rate in Ukraine, incidentally. And surely there are regions where the situation is very difficult, where the hostilities are going on, and there's no comparison. It's incomparable. So the key prerequisite explaining the development of the situation, and we've done so together with the economy department of the Lviv regional administration, as we couldn't figure out what was happening. We were seeing an essential decline in the cooperation with the employers, so we should be having more unemployed, but no, people and the employers worked hard to retain jobs, and the employers valued their staff more, and every person who landed a job offering clung on to it, And if people were a bit more relaxed about leaving jobs, finding jobs, getting unemployed, registration, but now people are clinging on to their jobs, and I think this is the right word to use, as it's about stability, it's about income, and people know that working for the company is also a domestic economic front, and we all need to pull our weight and to do our part to help out our country. The employers are very responsible about contributing to our common cause, and so far we're seeing an improvement in the job market. So we have more job openings, and therefore we are seeing a lesser uh, burden on the government in terms of unemployment benefits. Compared to the previous year, we paid 259 million fewer compared to the previous year. And in the current context of the situation, this is our part, our contribution that we can make. We will still consider this. Now I would like to bring in Stepan Kuibida, the director of the economic department of Lviv military administration. So tell us, what dynamics, what changes are you seeing in the economic market in Lviv? Good day, glory to Ukraine, glory to our heroes. Following on from Vasyl, I will try to continue with the good messages. Just 3 months ago, when we met right here in this audience and we discussed the wartime economy of Lviv region, we saw some distressing trends, but now they are reversing. And speaking in numbers, we are now approaching the pre-war times. So let's speak numbers that are more telling. So in peacetime, in the previous period, we carefully followed the job market, the hired hands, and the employers. So as of today, I had consultations this morning with the tax service, and we've seen the number that there are 36,000 companies, and this is the same number that we had before the full-scale aggression, and now it's the same level. So there are 36,000 economic entities working in the region and hiring people. So let's talk about the number of the people employed. The numbers hasn't reached the earlier times, but now we have 492,000 people. These are people working full-time, having their labor record book at the company, and are working full-time, a full working month. We used to have 520 or 540,000 people employed. We haven't reached that level yet, but we're seeing an upward trajectory. Hopefully, we will strive for that number, but I feel that the development is most positive. Next, clearly the job market is people leaving jobs, finding jobs, but there are 13 to 15,000 filings with the tax service, meaning that people are landing jobs. And again, we are seeing the same trend as we've seen before the full-scale invasion. Yes, we are seeing migration of the human capital. This is undeniable, but we are also seeing the way the companies are merging into the local economy. There are 207 relocated companies as of today. 144 of them have already launched their operation, and they've already created over 5,000 jobs. Surely, this is not a very big number in comparison, but we are fighting for every single job created. I'd say that we need to consider such things as the government working at the central level through the regional level, and the government is trying to support businesses, be a steadfast ally to the businesses. And this is an explanation for the positive upwards trends. Will we be able to maintain such dynamics? Well, it's the war, and all things happen in a war. But as of today, the labor market in Lviv isn't ideal, but it's controllable and it's recovering. You're telling us that there's a good trends with the employment, with the job markets. What's affecting it in the context of war? There are a number of things there. Firstly, finally, we've cooled down and we're in a position to make effective managerial decisions. That is the case for businesses who realize that they need to be effective and they need to work from day to day and they shouldn't be distracted. On the other hand, there's the government, which sees that their business needs support through regulations implemented by the Cabinet of Ministers and the Economy Ministry and live money that the cash flow the businesses need to exist. Secondly, is the focus of our foreign partners. We've seen that the economy of the Lviv region is export-oriented, and in peacetime, every fifth dollar of our economy was generated through export. Export primarily to the EU countries. We are amassing our capacities there. We haven't reached the pre-war growth rates of 15 to 22%. We are now having 5, 7, 9% growth, but still it's a growth. And that's about currency influx and the investment of the currency proceeds into the business, making us stronger. So if our interaction with the EU market continues, then our resources can be pooled with their intellectual achievements, and this is going to create a synergy that will benefit the economy. To discuss the labor market and the request of the employers. So what jobs are in demand today? If we compare the pre-war and current period, we have to say that in terms of statistics, the market has changed in light of the administrative territorial reform, which is in progress today. So in 2021, people we've registered as unemployed who were seeking jobs, we've mostly seen the public officials, as there was a significant reduction of staff in this field. Therefore, we've seen a lot of district administration downsized, the administrative personnel was downsized with the community. So we had a lot of these people who registered with us, and they prevailed. But over the time, with our assistance and without it, they have received the financial support whilst they were looking for jobs, and they have landed jobs. And the situation has changed. Mostly, nowadays, the people seeking jobs are looking for industrial jobs. We still have some public officials, but they are far fewer. We have many more blue-collar workers. And let me add one more point. And Stepan Kuibida confirmed that the job offerings and the job requests often coincide because we're seeing the flow of the labor pool. So there's a good match on the labor market. There are many accountants on the job market, many teachers. This is a novel category of teachers we haven't had before. Blue-collar workers, such as welders, but often their qualification is wanting because the employers do have the demand for blue-collar professions, but they're seeking highly qualified specialists. So even if the same job is sought, but there could be a difference in the qualification level. A lot of textile workers are needed, seamstresses are needed, the drivers are in demand, and this has always been a traditional wanted profession. Qualified tool mechanics are sought after. And the employers are preferring highly qualified people, offering them very good pay of 15 to 20,000 people. The construction industry has picked up, and the construction professions are in demand. The tractor drivers, they're seasonal jobs, but still they're there. So would it be right to say that the market has changed drastically? The job openings are mostly for blue-collar professions, 75%, so much. And this has been a trend for 4 years in a row, and uh, this hasn't changed recently. Now that there are relocated companies, and we are very happy that they have opted for the Lviv region to relocate their operations, and they often need some professions that we haven't had traditionally in the region. Often these are highly qualified specialists that are needed. We are meeting the needs by bringing in the experts trained by the Lviv Polytechnic University or retraining the people. Many IT experts have found a job because Lviv had openings there, but there was a shortage of certain professions, of highly qualified professions needed by the defense industry, and we have to retrain them and give them professional development jointly with education institutions. So what specialists are still wanted in the region? It's mostly the construction and industries seeking people. Cooks are needed, strange as it might seem. The shop assistants, the cashiers are needed. But this is more about the turnover of staff rather than the pure demand. It is a current situation. The vacancies are announced, and tomorrow we have someone to offer them. So we do have the people we have registered, and we can give them the people to consider. So now we have considerably limited the term that we need to find job candidates, and the other way around to offer openings for the people. If earlier people could receive unemployment benefit for some time, but now it would be unusual to take a month or two to offer the job. We start with the core profession, then we offer adjacent profession, and then look for retraining opportunities or other opportunities. We offer jobs immediately as people register with us, and often there's no waiting time for months. And this is why the employers are turning to us, because they know that we have people to offer them, but there are few people who just wanted to be registered and receive the unemployment benefit and perhaps work in the shadow economy, which could have been the case in the years before. Now, I'd say that the shadow economy is shrinking, and Stepan has confirmed the number. We have 36,000 plus companies operating in Lviv, and this is upholding the legal market. Dear colleagues, should you have a question, please raise your hand and you will be given the microphone. To pose your question, please start by introducing yourself. Перший західний, I'm Karina, representing a TV channel. Can you give us the numbers about the employment of the internally displaced people? What are the core challenges? What are the vacancies available for the people? And what is the level of pay for them? Thank you for the question. I have mentioned the level of pay. It's upwards of 10,000 hryvnia, that's average pay per vacancy. As for the employment of the internally displaced people, there are a number of challenges there. Let me give you the numbers. So let me emphasize that there is a program of reimbursement of two minimum salaries for 2 months of employment of an internally displaced person, and the IDPs, even if they have returned their previous place of work in their home, there are times when the company isn't there or there's no human resource department to formally dismiss them. Still, the reimbursement is paid for the company employing them. We have employed over 1,100 such people. We are third in Ukraine ranking, and we try to communicate the opportunity broadly. And I'm using this opportunity to tell the employees and that if you had employed such people in March and April, you can still go to your employment center where your business is registered, and we will reimburse the costs of every person employed, and that is 6,000 hryvnia per month, but just for 2 months of employment of an IDP. What are the issues with offering jobs for the internally displaced people? Mostly these are women with children who've relocated to Lviv, and they comprise the lion's share. Their place of stay isn't always allowing them to seek jobs. Often they share housing. People used to live in schools and gyms before, and this is not a very good starting point for seeking out a job. But we often have meetings with the internally displaced people where they're staying, where they're housed. Often there would be 50 to 100 people attending the meeting. The key reason why the IDPs are not seeking out jobs actively is that they want to return home as quickly as they can. And thank God it has happened, as Kyiv, Sumy, Chernihiv regions have been liberated and people have been able to return home to their jobs and are working there. They had worked some time in here and then resigned to go back to their homes, to their companies. The same pertains to the people from the areas of hostilities, and Kharkiv region is showing promise and that people will be returning soon. So the lion's share, the 80% of the people are saying that they are determined to return home and to take up their jobs there. So they are receiving support from the government and their children as internally displaced people seeking to return home as quickly as they can. And I wouldn't say it is a problem, it's rather a fact. Vasyl, thank you. Could you tell us about the programs available for supporting the unemployed in the Lviv region? Let me say that there is the best program that we haven't had before, and that is the opportunities for companies to expand their operation and to employ the IDPs. There's a program called Your Own Business. and anyone who already has a business. This is a case for micro and small businesses having up to 50 staff, and they can be registered as different legal entities. So to expand their business, to buy some additional manufacturing equipment, or to start a business as an individual, that is an opportunity open for the IDPs. They can use the DIA portal to file their application through the savings bank, is honored to get the guarantees upwards from 50 to 200,000 hryvnia. If a person gets the money, and then they have to create one job, and the program is open for 3 years. The resettlement is done by paying taxes for the person employed, and for the private entrepreneur, they pay the single tax and the social insurance tax, and this is included as the reimbursement. If the loan is up to 200,000, it's just for 2 people, and they have to stay for 4,000 people. It's an excellent program, and it is believed met if the person has stayed on for 24 months, and if it's 150,000, and if 2 people have worked at least 24 months, and the loan was 250,000 hryvnia. So the applications have to be filed before the 12th of December each decade. The applications are very straightforward, and I would like to say that the IDPs have a right to apply. The interviews are conducted online, and if people are living in Zaporizhia, say, or elsewhere in Ukraine, and you would like to do business in Ukraine, you'll have an interview with us up to 30 minutes once you've filled out the documents with the savings bank or Bank, and you can expect to have a soft landing in Lviv. Stepan, you're welcome. Let me add, the good news is that Lviv and the business support program, which has been launched in Lviv, was amongst the first in Ukraine. We are offering, in addition to what Vasyl was saying, we offer a number of opportunities. Firstly, we know that the rally companies find it hard to take off, so we give them 100,000 hryvnia as support. If they create 20 plus jobs, then the amount is doubled. To this effect, we are working very closely with Horizon Capital, and the amount can be doubled yet again through their support. So then it's a very attractive funding opportunity for small and medium businesses. Also, we know that the businesses have to position themselves on foreign markets, so marketing is a point. We offer 50,000 hryvnia voucher for marketing services for such businesses. Knowing that selling yourself is a good thing, but also you have to go through exacting certification procedures if the countries are positioning themselves for the EU. We give 80,000 for certification procedure. And lastly, we have the opportunity to receive 500,000 hryvnia as non-returnable support for the procurement of equipment, and that is only for the manufacturing companies, and it pertains to machine building, light industry, and agricultural processing industry. Also, we need to remember that there is the regional program to support the agricultural producers as a separate program, as a standalone program, focusing on supporting the household operators. And 2 or 3 months ago, the Ministry of the Economy, at its official website and its DIA business portal, have offered a number of support programs. They are thoroughly detailed. There are some grant opportunities, and the funding is quite extensive, and it's upwards from 1.5 and 2 million hryvnia. And lastly, we are working very effectively with our foreign partners with the USAID program Competitive Economy. They're prepared to issue grants for the development of business. And yet again, they have a focus on processing industry. If you'd like to discuss the opportunity, then the doors of the Department of Economy are open for you. As for the relocated companies, what are the outputs of the program in Lviv region? As of today, of the companies that have turned to us for support, we've issued over support for over 200 different companies in Lviv region. To speak of companies relocated, that would be 40 to 45 companies who've relocated and who have already received financial support from us. But that doesn't mean that the program is shutting down. It will definitely be extended until the end of the year, as we have the financial resources to pay out. We have 50 million hryvnia available. It's an absolute record. Never before has a regional program of business support had the funding on such scale to offer. We know for sure that we're not going to downsize it for 2023. On the contrary, we're going to scale up. To recap, what do we need to change to improve the indicators in Ukraine and to have more jobs available here? We need to win this war. The economy will take care of itself. We know that. We know what needs to be done. We know how we can put our resources and brain to best effect in economy to create economic growth and economic added value. This is the key prerequisite, winning the war for sure. And jumping at this opportunity, I'd like to say that the communities and the leaders of the communities, the economic officials in the community should consider the program that was mentioned, as it is a very attractive opportunity. The program has 5 billion hryvnia funding available. It's a colossal amount. 20,000 new jobs are to be created. These are self-employed people that will multiply the economic effect and then create more jobs. Lviv region can definitely benefit as people are very enterprising, and we can do business here in Lviv as we're not seeing the same hostilities as we're seeing them elsewhere in Ukraine. So the community stand well to improve their economic well-being by creating new jobs, creating self-employed people, or expanding the existing businesses too. Additionally, we can say that we can develop cooperatives. If 5 to 10 people would take up 250,000, join their efforts into a cooperative and grow produce together, then the community stand to benefit and the people will stand to improve their well-being, create jobs, pay taxes. Once again, it's a unique opportunity. The program is available until December. I would urge everyone stronger to apply, and that pertains to companies, businessmen, communities. Please seek consultations in the employment centers close by. And most importantly, if you need support filling out the applications in D, the procedure allows you to go to the savings bank that will provide technical support and assist in filling out the application. And that is important too, as in rural areas, people don't always have the time or the opportunity to fill out those applications. However, they know much about doing business. They know much about growing and producing produce. Thank you. We talked to Stepan Kuibida, Director of Economics Department of Lviv Administration, and Vasyl Baryliuk, Director of Lviv Regional Employment Center. Thank you for talking to us.